Hey everybody, Adam Bergman here, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial. And on today's video, it is a masterclass. Everything you need to know about the self-directed IRA and the self-directed IRA LLC. So if you give me 30 or so minutes, I will tell you everything you need to know about the difference between a self-directed IRA, self-directed IRA LLC, what's right for you, the differences, the advantages, everything. Why should you trust me? Well, I essentially wrote the book on this stuff. I've written 8 books. I'm a tax lawyer, obviously, a master's in tax law. I've written 2 books on the checkbook control, self-directed IRA LLC, specifically. The only 2 books out there. I've written books on self-directed retirement accounts. So I've been doing checkbook control for almost 15 years. I'm one of the first attorneys that have worked with it. So if you really want to understand it, I don't think there's really anyone better in the country that can explain it to you. That's just me. Obviously, I'm not objective, but I'll debate anyone on this stuff. I don't think you're going to find anyone that knows more about self-directed IRAs and LLCs and all the intricacies than me. So like I said, give me 25, 30 minutes. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. And hopefully at that point, you will be well armed to decide what is the best self-directed IRA for you. So, what is a self-directed IRA, right? It's not a legal term, okay? Starting in 1974, Congress created IRAs and 401ks. Before 1974, the only type of retirement plans out there were pension plans, basically defined benefit plans. And essentially, they were only offered by Fortune 500 companies like IBM. So Congress created ERISA. Part of ERISA was the creation of IRAs and 401ks to incentivize Americans to save. Because guess what? We love to spend, right? Americans, we are really good at spending money. We have a consumption-based economy. You look at a country like Japan, it's kind of the opposite. They actually save too much. And the government has dealt with deflation because people aren't spending enough. We don't have that issue. So government said, okay, how do we incentivize Americans to save? Well, we're going to create this system, whether it's an IRA or a defined contribution 401k, that's based off 2 principles. Okay, the first is a deduction. We're going to incentivize people to save by giving them tax deductions. So if you make $50K and you get a $5,000 IRA contribution deduction, you pay tax on $45,000. That's great, right? Lower tax base, meaning you're going to pay less tax. The second is deferral. The money in your IRA is going to grow without tax. That's known as deferral, okay? So whether you do 1 transaction or 50 transactions, all the income and gains in that IRA will flow back to the IRA without tax. Okay, that's known as deferral. Assuming you can get an 8% rate of return based off compounding return principles, your money will double every 8 years. Okay, so the 2 concepts of deductions and tax deferral is really why saving in an IRA or 401k is the smartest way to save, right? A simple example, you have $100, okay, and you want to save it. Well, let's just say this, you have $200 and you want to save it. If you put $100 in a taxable account and $100 in an IRA, assuming a 20% tax rate, you would have $80 if you invested that $100 and it doubled, right? You started with 100 and now you have 200. You'd pay 20% on the difference, the $100, right? That's the gains. So you're left with 80. If you did that same investment in an IRA, tax-free, right? You'd be left with 100. So even my 10-year-old kid knows 100 is more than 80. Simple math. Well, you do that every year or hundreds of times a year, depending on what transactions you're doing. Over the next 20, 30 years, you're going to see, and you can gauge for yourself pretty easily, that you're going to have a lot more money in an IRA than you would if you saved personally. Okay, so how to start a self-directed IRA. Here's some steps, and I'll include this PowerPoint. We'll get it in the notes, but essentially, I know it's kind of a little bit difficult to read, but just bear with me. The first step is pretty simple, right? You set up a self-directed IRA. Now, what's the difference between a self-directed IRA and a regular IRA? I mentioned, there's not a legal difference. When IRAs were created in 1974, the IRS and Congress did not create an IRA and a self-directed IRA. No, they created an IRA. The main difference between an IRA and a self-directed IRA, which is a term of art, you can call it an Atom IRA, you can call it an alternative IRA, an IRA Financial IRA, doesn't matter. What it means is an IRA that's allowed to invest in alternative assets. That's it. If you go to a traditional institution and open an IRA, they may even call it, and some do, a self-directed IRA. But all they're limiting you to do is invest in traditional investments like stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, bonds. And that's their right. As the custodian of the IRA, they have a right to limit what investments you can invest in. It doesn't mean the IRS has limited you. It just means they have as a custodian. Just like I could. As an IRA custodian, that's what IRA Financial is, I could say, hey, I don't want anyone to invest in cryptos. I don't want anyone to invest in gold. I can do that. That's my right as a custodian. The tax code does not do that. There's only three things. I'm going to get to the prohibited transactions at some point, but just as a refresher and primer right now, there's only three things you can't do in an IRA. This is two are under Section 408, one under 4975. Can't buy life insurance and collectibles like art. And thirdly, under 4975, you cannot do any transaction that directly or indirectly personally benefits you or any disqualified person, which is any lineal descendant or any entity controlled 50% or more by such people. Otherwise, you can do it. Okay? So why does Fidelity or Vanguard just let you buy stocks and not real estate or gold? Well, it's not because it's prohibited. It's because that's their business model. And they have every right to limit what you can invest in. It's their prerogative. Doesn't mean that IRS or Congress limits you. It just means those institutions do. But guess what? In 1974, when IRAs were created, so was the self-directed IRA industry, right? We don't compete with the traditional institutions and banks. I personally believe in diversification. I think it's important to work with traditional institutions that offer traditional investments. I think it's important for your IRA to invest in stocks or bonds or fixed income or ETFs. I do. I also think personally, I'm just a tax lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving anyone financial advice. But what I do personally is I diversify. I own real estate. I own cryptos. I own gold. I own investments into private equity, hedge funds, venture capital, real estate funds, hard money loan stuff, which I've been doing a lot of lately. And I also have tons of equities, stocks, ETFs, and mutual funds. So I believe in diversification. But opening an account is easy. Okay. The first thing to do is, do you want a self-directed IRA? Right? We'll get into the difference between IRAs and LLCs in a second. But why would you want to set up a self-directed IRA? Well, you want to do an alternative asset investments, whether it's real estate, whether it's private equity, hedge funds, hard money loans, gold, cryptos, whatever. An alternative asset is simply an investment that is not a traditional investment. It's not a publicly traded security. So anything that's not a publicly traded security or a bond, a debt instrument that's publicly traded is deemed an alternative asset, and you would need a self-directed IRA to buy it. Now, you go on Schwab or Fidelity's website, they'll say they have a self-directed IRA, but that's not really the case. All they're saying is, yeah, you can buy any investment we sell. So yeah, obviously you can buy any stock or all the ETFs and mutual funds or fixed income products we sell, you could self-direct. But that's not really what a self-directed IRA is. A self-directed IRA really lets you do anything that's legal. Okay, whether you're buying Zimbabwe real estate or real estate in Iowa, as long as it's not life insurance, collectibles, or a prohibited disqualified person transaction, you can do it. Okay, doesn't mean Fidelity and Schwab is going to let you do it, but the IRS lets you do it. And it's important to consider this. Why does the IRS allow you to do alternative asset investments? Well, I truly believe the reason is they understand the power of diversification. They get that options are good, right? They don't want you to just buy stocks and mutual funds or ETFs. If they did, they would have limited what an IRA can do. Okay? Simple, right? They would have said, all you can do is stocks and mutual funds or publicly traded securities. That's not what the tax code says. The tax code doesn't say what you can do. It only says what you cannot do, right? And there's only 3 things you can't do: life insurance, collectibles, and prohibited transaction involving a disqualified person. Otherwise, you can do it. So the self-directed IRA is the most common self-directed solution. It's very easy. Step 1, you open an account at a self-directed custodian, a non-traditional financial institution. Right? IRA Financial, we're a regulated trust company. We don't sell products, so we're not a broker-dealer. We do not sell securities. We don't give investment advice. We don't sell products, which I think is really important. Why? Because there's no conflict of interest. We want what's best for you. We're not trying to upsell you anything. Oh, hey, you should buy this product. You should buy this investment. And we're getting like back-ended commission. No. We're not allowed to by law. So we can't push and promote investments, which I think is important from a client perspective to know that we're on your side. Our job is to do a number of factors. Number 1, to administer your IRA based off IRS law, right? Following 5498s, which Fidelity does too, right? We are an IRA custodian. Whether you buy real estate with IRA Financial or you buy stocks at Fidelity, we have the same reporting requirements. We're still the same IRA custodian. The only difference is we're not a broker-dealer, and we allow you to do alternative asset investments. Still the same IRA. The word self-directed IRA doesn't mean anything. The word IRA means something. It's a retirement account taxed under Section 408. So everyone gets really caught up in the wording of self-directed IRA. And I'm just like, it's an IRA. It's just an IRA that lets you do alternative asset investments. It's still subject to the same rules as an IRA you would have at Vanguard, whether it's a contribution, or it's a distribution, or it's a rollover, whether it's requirement and distribution. The only difference is, again, just to focus on this one last time. An IRA you open at Vanguard or Schwab or any traditional institution can let you do more. And they could if they wanted, but they don't. They want to focus on what they do best, what they sell, what they make money on, and that's traditional investments, fixed income, debt, which they're right. IRA Financial and the self-directed retirement industry, we do what we do best, and that's we focus on alternative asset investments. We custody them. We have the expertise. The traditional institutions do not. That's what we do best. Okay, and that's why if you want to set up self-directed IRA, you wouldn't to do alternative asset investments. Our industry will satisfy you, and we have incredible number of companies, not just IRA Financial. I would say we're friendly competitors. There's 65 million IRAs out there. There's $13 trillion of IRA money, just IRA money. It's about $34 trillion of retirement money. So obviously, I'd love to open every IRA in the world, every American that has a self-directed IRA. I think we're the best company. And not just because we do administration, but record keeping, but also we offer a very important consulting service that really no other IRA custodian does, including filing the BOI, the beneficial ownership interest, which I'll get to in a moment. With FinCEN, we do partnership tax returns, 990Ts for UBIT. We'll help you do almost anything you want. And that's really important. It's not just the administration or record keeping, but it's the consulting. But putting that aside, there's a lot of great companies, and we serve millions and millions and millions of IRAs and providing this service. So setting up a self-directed IRA is the easy. Okay. First thing is you need to find an investment you want to do. We don't promote investments, right? So generally, clients will come to us and say, hey, I want to buy real estate, or I want to buy investment X or Y or Z. You go open an account with us. It takes 5 minutes to go on our app or website. You basically need to fill out some basic info, your name, your address, social, basic stuff. Tell us what kind of IRA you want, and we'll do it for you. Okay? And once that's set up, the second part, you'll get an account number. The second part is, what are you doing? Are you moving an IRA? Or are you moving a 401k rollover? Or are you doing a contribution, right? There's 3 ways to fund an IRA. Contribution, $7,000 or $8,000 if you're over 50 and 24. Rollover, former 401k, former employer 457, former employer 403, tax-free rollover direct, or you're just moving money from another IRA. All 3 instances, they're tax-free. IRA transfers, 401k rollovers, or contributions. If it's a pre-tax IRA contribution, it's tax deductible. It's a Roth contribution after tax, but it's still a way to fund your IRA. IRA transfers and rollovers, there's no limitations. You can do 100 direct ones, and they could be for $1 or $50 billion. You just need to have enough in your account. Now, you can also do what's called an indirect rollover. That means, let's say you have an IRA Fidelity, and you take possession of it for whatever reason. You have 60 days to roll it into another IRA. So you have 60 days to use it for any purpose, and then you can just roll it into a IRA tax-free. You can do that once every 12 months. Okay, those are the 3 ways to fund the IRA. So that's step 2, right? Step 1, you open the account. Step 2, you fund it. Step 3 is the fun part. You get to make your investment. And the way the self-directed IRA works is the investment is made directly from the IRA custodian into the investment, whether it's real estate, private equity, gold, cryptos. Title to the investment is in the name of the custodian. So it would be IRA Financial Trust Company for the benefit of the Adam Bergman IRA. Okay? That's it. All the income and gains would flow back to the IRA. IRA Financial is the custodian of the IRA or the trustee of the IRA. All the income and gains from the IRA would generally flow back from the investment to the IRA tax-free. Generally one exception is UBIT, which I'll talk about in a moment. But this is what your self-directed IRA structure looks like. It's that easy. Okay, it's kind of like a triangle. You got the IRA up top, you got the transfer rollover contribution here, and you got the investment down here, and then the money will just flow tax-free up and down. Super simple. Okay. Here are the benefits, as I talked about. Tax deferral, right? Your money grows tax-free in the account. If it's a Roth, you pull it out after you're 59 and a half. The Roth's been open 5 years, tax-free. What else? Diversification. You get to invest in assets you know and trust. It's a great hedge against inflation. A lot of our clients have a good chunk of their investments in traditional investments like stocks, and they want to diversify. That's basically what I do, right? I use a self-directed IRA to diversify. I've done real estate, I've done investment fund stuff, I've done cryptos in my self-directed IRA. So that is the main benefits of the self-directed IRA. Okay. Type of IRAs, I kind of went into this real quick. There's a traditional IRA created in 1974. The traditional, the SEP, and the simple are all pre-tax IRAs. Traditional IRA for 2024, $7,000 or $8,000 if you're over 50. There are some income limitations if you have access to a 401k at work. And if, depending on if it's you or your spouse have access, there are some income limitations if you can take an additional deduction with that traditional IRA contribution. Roth IRAs, if you make more than $240, married, filed jointly, you technically can't do a Roth IRA, although we know, if you watch my videos, you know that you can do a backdoor Roth, no matter how high your income is. Roth IRA, also $7,000 or $8,000 if you're over 50. Both these are due. 2023, you can still do contributions with $6,500 and $7,500 up until April 15th. So still have plenty of time. Roth IRAs after tax, no tax deduction. Once you're 59 and a half, Roth open 5 years, all tax-free. With a traditional IRA, once you're over 59 and a half, you pay tax. If you pull it up before 59 and a half, tax and a 10% penalty. Once you hit 73, you have to take a requirement minimum distribution. No RMDs for Roth. SEP IRA is a profit-sharing plan. $69,000 is your max. There's no catch-up if you're over 50. It's 20% of your net Schedule C if you're a sole proprietor or single member LLC. 25% if you're a W-2. So if you make 100K, it's 20K. If you're a sole proprietor, that's your max. 100K W-2, C or S Corp, 25,000. You can't go above the 69. Okay. Starting in 24, you can do Roth as well. But just note, if you do a Roth contribution, it's taxable income, right? It's after tax. Simple IRA is like a mini 401k. It's all pre-tax. They also, the limitations is $16,000 or plus a $3,500 catch up if you're over 50. So that's why it's like a mini 401k. 401k, the max you can put away is 69 or 76.5 if you're over 50. Employee deferral is 23,000 if you're under 50. 30,000 if you're 500 if you're over 50. It can be done in pre-tax or Roth. A solo K also will give you the employer profit sharing, allow you to go 20 or the 25% like the SEP. So a solo K is basically like a 401k and a SEP combined. 403s and 457s are government plans. But all these can kind of interact. The only thing to remember is a Roth IRA cannot roll into a 401k. Traditional IRAs can go into a 401k, SEPs can go into a 401k, Simples can go into a 401k, 401ks can go into an IRA, 403s can go into an IRA, SEP or Simple, 401s can go into a traditional SEP or Simple. A Roth 401k can only go to a Roth IRA. But for some reason, Roth IRAs cannot go to Roth 401ks. That could change, but today they can't do it. So I talked about, right, self-directed IRAs, there's two types. We talked about the full service self-directed IRA. Why do I call it full service? Well, I call it full service because the custodian is doing more of the work, right? If you have to pay an expense, you need to get the custodian to pay it, right? Because the IRA owns the investment. So if I own a piece of real estate with a full service self-directed IRA, title is in the name of the custodian, IRA Financial Trust, for the benefit of John Doe IRA. So that means if I have to pay tax, IRA Financial, as the custodian, has to pay that tax, right? Because it's the owner. So there's a little more work. You got to go through the custodian. The advantage is, the custodian takes care of all the reporting. So it's very, very simple. Checkbook control, which we're going to talk about now, which is my favorite. And I've been working with checkbook control really since 2009, one of the first companies to really focus on the checkbook control. And there's no difference. The only difference between the self-directed IRA and self-directed IRA LLC, and I think it's easier shown. Do we have a little, hold on. Let's get a little, let's do this. And we'll come back to the other slides. But the only difference between a self-directed IRA and the LLC is this, the LLC. Same process, right? You have the IRA up here. You have the transfer rollover contribution here. The only difference is the investment. Remember the previous slide, the word IRA LLC did not exist. The difference here is the word IRA LLC exists, meaning a special purpose limited liability company, this, right? This is the only difference between a self-directed IRA LLC. Let's go back to that self-directed IRA page. Let's find it. Let's go back. See? There's no LLC here, right? The IRA makes the investment directly into the investment. So if it's real estate, the IRA makes the investment directly into the real estate. Here, we have this LLC here. Now, what's so important about this LLC? Well, an LLC is a limited liability company. I'm sure most of you know what an LLC is. It's a pass-through entity, right? So it has the characteristics of a partnership. There's flow-through tax treatment, which is great. It also has the characteristics from a limited liability perspective of a corporation. So it's known as having the best of both worlds. You have limited liability protection of a corp, and you have the pass-through tax treatment of a partnership. Here's an example. $100 in a corporation, assuming a 21% tax rate. $100 of profit, the company pays $21 to Uncle Sam. It's left with $79. And now if it sends the dividend, that 79 dividend, to the shareholder has to pay tax on that $79. Okay, that's known as a double tax. LLC is a pass-through. Think of it as like a funnel. That's why I usually put an LLC as a triangle. It's not a box. Whenever I do a box, I think of a corporation. It like boxes it in, right? It has its own entity level tax. An LLC pass-through entity. So it's a funnel. If $100 LLC generates $100, the LLC doesn't pay any tax on it. The owner does. So that's known as a one level of tax, right? So the corporation 2 levels, LLC 1 level. Now, the beauty of the self-directed IRA LLC, that's why I love it and I get so damn excited talking about it, is guess what? The IRA is the owner of the LLC. We know IRAs are exempt from tax, okay? So that means there's 0 level of tax. The LLC doesn't pay tax, and the IRA doesn't pay tax. Why? It's tax exempt under Section 408. So there's 0 tax. If the IRA owned a corporation, there'd still be a corporate level tax, 21%. And sometimes using a corporation can help block UBIT, which we'll talk about probably in a different masterclass because it's its own topic. Maybe in a few weeks I'll get to it. But in this scenario, the IRA LLC, the LLC serves a very important purpose, right? The purpose is, okay, you get limited liability protection. What's limited liability protection, right? People use that term all the time. I'm not sure people really understand it. Limited liability protection means that all the assets outside the LLC are protected from creditors. So if you have $100,000 in your IRA LLC and you have $100,000 in your IRA outside the LLC, God forbid someone attacks your LLC, they can only get what's in the LLC. Limited liability protection will not protect what's in the LLC. Maybe insurance will, but not limited liability protection. Limited liability protection will protect what's outside of the LLC. Okay, so that's important. It also gives you privacy. Why? The investment's made in the name of the LLC, not in Adam Bergman's name. So it's much harder to know who owns the LLC. Third, you have speed, control, right? If I want to write a check to a contractor, a plumber, electrician, I can write it as the manager of the LLC. So let's get back to the LLC model. So the LLC here, it's owned by the IRA. Who manages it? It's managed by anyone, third party. Now, generally 99% of the time, it's managed by the IRA owner, right? If this is Adam Bergman's IRA, I have 100K Fidelity, and I want to buy some property. I set up an account in IRA Financial, right? Because why not? It's the best. I roll my $100,000 tax-free. So now I have $100,000 in my IRA. I set up an LLC, call it ABC LLC. Where do I set up my LLC? Generally, you're going to set it up, if it's real estate, I like to set it up in the state where the real estate is located. Don't have to. You can set it up at a more, I would say, entity-friendly state like maybe Delaware, South Dakota, Nevada, Wyoming, state with no state tax or franchise tax. But even if I set up my LLC in Delaware, if I'm going to own real estate in Florida, I'm still generally going to want to register that LLC to do business in Florida. Why? Because in order to gain limited liability protection, it's got to be registered to do business in that state, right? It's got to avail itself of all the state rules. So if I did a Delaware LLC and I own property in Florida and there's a problem in Florida, Florida's not going to give me limited liability protection because I'm not registered to do business in the state. But if you're just doing one state type real estate, then I personally think just form it in the state. But there's no right or wrong. If money is not an object, I know a lot of clients that say, no, Adam, I'm going Delaware or so Delaware because I want privacy. It's much harder to know who owns a Delaware LLC. They don't provide any information other than the registered agent. And you can hire a registered agent company that would not disclose the ownership. So if you're super, super focused on privacy, like Wyoming, Delaware are the best. And then you just register to do business in the state of where the real estate is located. If you're not doing real estate, it really doesn't matter, right? If you're doing a gold LLC or cryptos, or if you are doing a hedge fund, private equity credit fund, real estate fund, or a hard money loan, or investing in a private business, founder shares, you can set up the LLC anywhere. So the only state that's super aggressive is California. And California is so aggressive that even if the LLC is investing in a business in Iowa, if the manager of the LLC is a resident of California, California says you have to register the LLC to do business in that state because management's happening in California. Even though the IRA owns it, IRA is not a resident of anything, and the business is outside of California, it would be hard pressed to argue, well, not for California, but a lot of states would feel it would be a stretch to argue that LLC is engaged in a trade or business in the state if it doesn't own anything in the state. But California says, no, management decisions are in the state, even though there's no office, you got to register to do business. But again, if you're a client of IRA Financial or thinking of doing this, we'll help you. We'll explain you this stuff. We'll advise you. We set up the LLC. We do the EIN, the LLC operating agreement. Of course, we also do the transfers and contributions and rollovers and provide you all the structuring advice. Now, one thing that we do better than anyone, and I will guarantee you that, we help design transactions, okay? So if you come to us and say, hey, Adam, I want to do this deal, we'll help design a structure that works best for you, whether it's a self-directed IRA, whether it's a solo K. If you check out the masterclass I did last week on the solo K, we will get you into the right structure. And not only that, my team, and we work daily on training, we will design the right structure, whether it's an LLC where it's to be formed, maybe we do a blocker, how it's going to be structured, debt, equity. We will help you structure it to be the most tax efficient. So we go above and beyond, and no one can compete with us on that. I can promise you that. So I love the LLC. Now, when should you do the LLC? There's no right or wrong, right? Don't you hate the answer? That's the lawyer in me. No right or wrong. It's kind of like giving you both sides. But it's true. There's no right or wrong. I have clients that do a private equity deal that want the LLC. I have clients that do a private equity deal that don't want the LLC. I have clients that do real estate and fix and flips that want the LLC. I have clients that do fix and flips that don't want the LLC. Why do you want the LLC? Other than limited liability protection, privacy, control, those are the three factors. These are, if I had to categorize what are the type of investments that should do an LLC, I would say real estate, because you want limited liability protection. Transactions, investments with a high frequency of transactions. You're doing a lot of like loans, a lot of interest coming in and out. You want to reduce your custodian fees. Thirdly, foreign stuff. You probably want to go with an IRA LLC, and then the LLC invest in the foreign deal. So it's really about high frequency of transactions and transactions involving limited liability protection like real estate. If you're doing a one-off deal into a hedge fund or private equity or real estate fund, 5-year lockup, a land with 5-year lockup, not a high level of frequency, smaller degree of risk, smaller degree of concern about limited liability protection, then maybe you don't go the LLC. Now, again, the only difference is the cost of the setup. The way we do it, we have flat custodian fees, right? Flat custodian fees, meaning if you have 10 grand, 50 grand, $1 million, you're going to pay $460 a year flat. You're still going to get the best service. And we pride ourselves on that. We're not going to give you better service if you have more money than someone that has less. And we're not going to charge you more because your account went up in value. That's unfair. That's kind of unethical, right? This is a self-directed account. Let's say you start with 100K and 8 years later you have 400K. Why should I charge you more money? That's not right. You're in control. You're self-directing, not me. I'm not giving you investment advice. Why in God's green earth should I charge you more? That's not fair. And I have a lot of competitors that do that. I dislike that. I think it's unethical. And if you're paying account valuation fees, you're a sucker. Sorry, you're a sucker. Because you are paying a custodian for your brains and your wisdom. You're stupid. Sorry. You don't have to do that. You can switch to flat custodian fees. And I'm going to do a blog and a podcast this week that's going to show over a 10-year period, you're going to pay $10,000 to $13,000 more in fees by going, if you have an average $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 account, tens of thousands of dollars of extra money you're just giving away. You might as well give it to yourself. You're giving away because you picked the wrong custodian. I'm sorry. You don't have to do that. So I have a big issue with that. You can see how worked up, and I'm usually really calm guy. But that's unfair and that's stupid, and you're costing yourself money because you picked the wrong custodian. And I think it's unethical. Straight away, unethical. People are charging you asset valuation fees. Why? They're not doing anything. You are. It's wrong. I'll never do that. Okay, so this is how the IRA LLC works. I love the LLC model. I've written 2 books on it. I think it works really well, especially for real estate and investments with a high degree of frequency of transactions. Otherwise, you don't need it. We charge a one-time establishment fee. That's it. Okay, it's generally at $9.99 and includes the state fee, includes the operating agreement, the EIN. We're not making much on it. You know, if you do a state like Texas, out of the $9.99, there's like $300 and something in fees to the state. Plus, I got to do the EIN, the operating agreement. I'm covering my costs. Okay, and then generally LLCs, depending on the state, have annual fees, right? It can be from $0 up to $800 with California. California is the highest franchise fee. Most states are between $100 and $200. And that's something you want to consider if you want to go the LLC route. There are additional fees. Now, what happens if you have multiple deals? What happens if you have real estate A, B, C, D, and E? Should you set up separate LLCs for each of them? Personally, yeah. If money's not an object, of course, you want to isolate your risk, right? We all know like WeWork, right? Office sharing company. They've declared bankruptcy. They're smart. Each of their offices are in separate LLCs. So if 50 of their offices they just throw away, say we're going to go bankruptcy on them. The other properties they have are still good to go. So isolating risk makes sense. Now there's a cost, right? You got to set up separate LLCs. If you do it with us, we'll give you a bundle deal, don't worry, but you still will have the annual fees that you have to take into account. It's up to you. If you have 50K versus 500K, decision's easier to do. Right, I talked, is it right for you? Mostly real estate like to go the LLC, privacy, more control will go LLC. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever works for you. Okay, I went through where should I form my LLC? Who manages the LLC? It's generally you. You want to be in control. It's your money. What's special about the LLC? Well, not much. It's manager managed, and the operating agreement needs to have certain language that protects the manager, whether it's prohibited transactions, UBIT, and now BOI. As manager of the LLC, you want to be careful in what you do. Less is more. You want to do what's reasonable and necessary, and that's under the Treasury regulations of 4975-6. I'll probably do a masterclass about operating the LLC, but we handle everything. We set up the LLC. We'll do the operating agreement, the EIN. It's not super complicated. That's why the cost is super cheap. The operating agreement we do, it's a special operating agreement. You can't grab one online. There's certain language in there. It's manager managed, not member managed, and a lot of other features that are unique because it's an IRA that owns it and not a human being. So I talked about what's permitted, right? You can't do life insurance. You can't do collectibles. That's under Section 408. And the big one is 4975. That basically says, in a nutshell, that you can't do anything that personally benefits you or any disqualified person. And a disqualified person is a lineal descendant, your parent, child, spouse, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, or any entities controlled 50% or more. That's it. It's not that complicated. And it's fun. It's kind of a puzzle. I encourage people, if they have questions, to let us know. I'll do a masterclass on prohibited transactions. There are some gray areas, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Here's the 408M, and here's 4975. Okay. It's a disqualified person. I just went through that. What's the most popular IRA investments? I think it's probably real estate, private businesses, investment funds, metals, cryptos are still out there. They're popular. Not as popular as they were in 2021, but they're still out there. We have a great platform with Bitstamp. You can actually buy cryptos in our app. We don't charge any valuation fees like some of our competitors. So if you're just hodling Bitcoin, you pay a fee to buy it, obviously, and that's it. I think we have a $100 account fee. So it's very simple. If you're a hodler of Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other coin, we have the best platform for you because we don't charge asset valuation fees. So as Bitcoin goes up, as it has, you're still paying us, I think it's $100 flat. That's it. So I wouldn't suggest looking at our platform if you're doing cryptos. Obviously the risks, we all know the risks out there with cryptos. Okay, UBTI, it's the last thing I'm going to talk about. I'm going to just kind of tackle this and then go through some questions. I will do a masterclass on UBTI because it's a complicated subject. In fact, most lawyers and accountants don't know anything about UBTI. Majority of IRA investments do not trigger UBIT. Why? Because they're centered around 5 categories of passive income. Capital gains, interest, dividends, royalties, rental income. Capital gains, royalties, rental income, interest are not subject to UBIT. Okay? So if you buy and sell stock, buy and sell real estate, buy and sell cryptos, interest from loans, rental income from real estate, dividends from stock, royalties from certain investments, not subject to UBIT, they flow back to the IRA without tax, right? That's why we use an IRA to invest. 3 types of transactions that trigger UBIT. Use a non-recourse loan to buy real estate, use a non-recourse loan to buy an asset like stock, or you invest in a business like a restaurant through an LLC. If those types of investment, these 3 categories of investment generate more than $1,000 in net income, you may have some UBIT. The highest UBIT tax rate is 37%, follows the trust tax rates, and you get to that 37% at a very low threshold, about 15K. Okay, it's an ugly tax, an ugly 4-letter word. You can call it UBIT, unrelated business income tax. You can call it UBTI, unrelated business taxable income. It shouldn't apply to IRAs. I've done a lot of podcasts and videos on it. It's a tax that was put in the code in the 50s to stop businesses like McDonald's setting up charities, selling their hamburgers out of a charity and never paying tax. Congress got spooked, said, oh, we can't let that happen. So let's create this word, unrelated business. But what is unrelated to an IRA's exempt purpose? IRAs don't have a business model. Their only purpose is to make money for their owner, whether it's stocks, real estate, gold, crypto, it doesn't matter, right? What's the point of an IRA? To grow the nest egg. That's it. It's not like it's a hospital that has an exempt purpose. A hospital or a charity, a church, it's exempt purpose, right? It's obvious. Hospitals exempt purpose, save people's lives, right? Educational charity, educate people. A religious institution like a church, we get it. If that hospital or church starts selling cell phones or TVs, hey, that's kind of weird, right? That's not part of their exempt purpose. So the Congress said, we're going to put a tax and we're going to prevent them or limit them from doing that, because if we didn't have these rules in place, then everyone, including me, would set up a charity and just run their business for a charity and never, ever pay tax. So they have these rules about unrelated business. But what's unrelated business to an IRA? Not. Shouldn't exist. These rules should not be triggered in the IRA world, but they are, because an IRA is taxed as a 501 trust. Talked to many members of Congress about this. Can't get it through their heads, but the problem is the IRS and Congress is not super encouraged and activated to do anything. Why? Because it's still bringing in tax revenue. So why would they turn that faucet off? My point is, hey, you are limiting billions and billions of dollars of IRA money, 401k money, that could be invested in our future Googles, future Apples, future real estate deals. But because of UBIT, it's limiting the ability of IRAs to do certain deals, certain real estate deals, certain startups that are pass-throughs. That's not good for America. So these rules are actually hurting America. So if anyone's out there watching this and has any direct access to anyone on the Ways and Means Committee or Senate Finance Committee, send them the video. This is hurting America. There could be billions and billions and billions of more dollars that could be invested in startups, generating jobs, right? Almost all new jobs are coming from businesses that are under 100 employees, right? Small businesses. If we had more IRA and 401k money invested in those businesses, invested in real estate deals, guess who's going to work those deals? Americans, right? Guess who's going to generate revenues and tax revenues for the government? These companies. Guess who can help us compete and destroy China and all our competitors? Just need more investment money. So we could do it through the $13 trillion of IRA money. These dumb rules are stopping it, unfortunately. Why? Because no one thinks about it. So we filed a 990T, which is great. So we will help you design structures to limit UBIT. We'll help you design structures to work around. There are some tools to minimize the impact of UBIT, whether it's a C-Corp blocker, foreign blocker, different structuring. We have the skills. Not many others have it. We can help you. I went through this, IRA Financial. You guys should know, we literally wrote the book on this stuff. We're the best. We have flat fees. We don't just admin, record keep, design. We'll consult and keep you in good standing. Over $3 trillion in assets, 25,000 clients. Been doing this since 2009. So I'll put our team and our talent and expertise up against anyone in the country. I will debate anyone on this stuff. It's pretty simple. Okay, let's do some questions. How do I start one? Which one is better? Okay, I think I got you that, Rolando. I hope I answered your question. The reason I didn't answer that question at the front end of this is I hope I've answered it. What's better for you? Well, it depends on what you want to do. There's no right answer. The LLC will give you limited liability protection, privacy, more control. Okay, there's a cost involved. If cost is not relevant, the LLC generally wins out. If cost is an issue, then we can chat about it. They're both great structures if you want to do alternative asset investments. You can't go wrong. It's really what you want to accomplish, LLC or not. Can I use my IRA to start a towing business? Yeah. So, Ricky, a couple things here. Great question. If you're going to own more than 50% of the business, no, right? Because remember the prohibited transaction rules. You can't own more than 50% of a entity, which would become a disqualified entity. If you want to start a towing company and you're going to own more than 50%, I have some solutions. Number one, something called a ROBS, which I'll do. I think I've done a masterclass. Yeah, I did a masterclass on it. You should check it out on our YouTube channel. If not, I'll do another one. But the ROBS, rollover business startup, will let you have a corp that will be owned by the 401k, and you can run a towing business, earn a salary, and still get tax-free dividends back to your 401k through ROBS. If you need less than 50K, I can set you up with a solo K loan that will let you borrow the 50K tax-free, penalty-free, and you can own 100% of your towing company that way. Next question. Can I hold an annuity in an IRA? Yes, absolutely. Annuities, depending on them, it's not life insurance. I'm actually developing a very, very cool annuity program, which I'm going to launch in the coming months, which is going to revolutionize the way people save. That's to be announced soon. But yes, IRAs can own annuities. Can we discuss IRAs versus LLC? Thanks, Brian. I think I did. If I didn't, I'll do another one. But as I mentioned, the main difference is the LLC, right? Both cases, you can do the same investments, alternative asset investments. The only difference is the self-directed IRA, there's no LLC. The IRA invests directly into the investment. With the checkbook control, the LLC is here giving you limited liability protection, privacy control. Okay, that's the only difference. Otherwise, same deal. Can you get started directly from our app? Yeah, you can set up an account on our website, on our app. You actually don't pay anything until you fund the account. It's super easy, as I mentioned, it takes a few minutes. We always have great promotions. And guess what? We don't have any transaction fees, no wire fees, no check fees, and no asset valuation fees. So whether you're starting with 50K, 100K, or $1 million, you're going to get the same best service. As your account goes up in value, paying the same flat fees. We're not going to ding you for higher fees because you're smart. It's one thing, listen, if we were wealth managers and giving you investment advice and saying, hey, buy this, buy that, and we did well, yeah, we should get higher fees for when we did well. That's fair. I have wealth managers, I pay them 75 basis points. And as my account goes up, they get more money. I get it. It's fair. This is a self-directed account. I'm not telling you what to do. You're making your decisions investment-wise. Why should I prosper off you? It's not unethical. It's unfair. You should push back. You don't have to accept it. You come to IRA Financial, we'll charge you flat fees. And if you move over, we'll take care of you. Trust me. I will work and deal with you. And my team will too. We want your business. And we want you, because this is not just about opening an account with me. If you pay asset valuation fees, you're hurting yourself and your family. You are literally robbing your IRA of thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars over a 10-year period. That's not fair. You're stealing money. They're stealing money from you. Stealing it. You don't have to put up with it. And it bothers me. I get so worked up because it's unethical. And whoever is charging it, I'll fight you to the death on it. It's wrong. Do we have an affiliated network? Well, we want to work with you. If you're a CPA firm, come talk to us. We'd love to help your clients. I'll do free webinars. I want to educate. They don't have to ever set up an IRA. No guarantee. I'm happy to educate. Are any real estate icons possible within real estate loans possible within a self-directed Roth and not trigger UBIT? So, okay. If you are in real estate and need to use leverage, which, who in real estate doesn't use loans? No one. Even Warren Buffett, if he bought real estate, would take a mortgage out. Should be. Use other people's money, right? OPM. It has to be a non-recourse loan. Now, the way to do it is you'd set up a 401k. If you set up a 401k to buy real estate and use leverage, under section 514C9, there's an exemption for using leverage and not paying this UBIT tax. So instead of using the IRA LLC, use the 401k, like a solo K, you can use leverage and not pay any tax. That's one of the biggest advantages. Oh, I don't have that. Sorry. It's one of the biggest advantages of using a solo K. And that's why working with a company like IRA Financial is so imperative, because we can look at your scenario and hopefully my team's like, hey, are you self-employed? Yeah. Okay. Forget the IRA. I know you watch this masterclass, you want the IRA or Roth IRA. Go watch the masterclass in the solo. I'll put you in the solo. I'll let you leverage up your investment, pay no UBIT tax, and allow you to do the same investment tax rate. So there's ways. It's hard to know. It's facts and circumstances. But if you talk to our team, let me know. We will discover a solution for you. I live in Kentucky and have your IRA LLC. Good. But I will move to California in a couple of years. I understand I will keep the LLC. I will have to pay $800. Well, only, Kevin, if you become the manager. If you have someone else be the manager, like a brother or sister or someone you trust that still lives in Kentucky or anywhere outside of California, you're good. You don't have to pay California franchise fee. You only would, Kevin, if you do deals in California or you live in California and you're the manager. If you have someone else the manager and you have deals outside of California, you don't have to pay California anything. Carl, should on how I would convert a traditional to a Roth. So yeah, we do Roth conversions for free. Simple. Let's go back to my little diagram. I love my diagram. Yeah, I'll do a master class on Roth conversions, maybe next actually. So let's say you have an IRA on the LLC and you want to convert to Roth. We don't have to do anything in the LLC. You don't have to quit claim your asset. You don't even have to tell whoever you invested with that your IRA is now Roth. Why? Because the LLC is here. All we need to do is amend your LLC operating agreement, Carl, and just change your owner from IRA to Roth. Whether it's a full conversion or semi-partial, that's it. Right? So the operating agreement just changes. The IRA investment, let's say you invest in an investment fund. They don't even need to know that you did a conversion. All you need to do is amend the operating agreement, which we'll do, to show the owner of the LLC is an IRA or Roth. If you had a regular self-directed IRA, in this case, let's say you had your IRA-owned real estate and you want to convert IRA to Roth. In this case, we would have to quit claim your property, change the title of the Roth, right? Because the property is owned directly by the IRA. But that's why, again, another reason the LLC is so nice is it's much easier to get things done. Because here, I don't have to involve the actual investment. I can do all the paperwork up here. And again, if you have an LLC owned by two parties, I should have said, you have to file a 1065 partnership return. We do it for you. We'll file your partnership return. We do it all. 990T for UBIT, partnership return, 1065s, 1099s, 5498s, BOI. Okay, last thing. I should have mentioned this. The one difference in the self-directed IRA and the self-directed IRA LLC. With an LLC, under new rules just came out by FinCEN, starting in 2024, new entities, within 90 days, all new entities, for-profit or IRA, 25% or more owned, have to file a FinCEN, unless it has 20 employees or 5 million in revenue, or it's tax exempt. Oh, this is tax exempt. Why does this have to file FinCEN? Because it's managed. It's controlled by a person. So if someone has significant authority over the entity, which you would as the owner, you have to file a BOI. We do it for you. Okay. All previous IRA LLCs from the last 15 years, you worked with IRA Financial, you'll be receiving notifications. Even though it's owned by an IRA, you should be exempt. Because you have significant control, we have to file the BOI with FinCEN. We have a whole year to do that. So you'll be hearing from us. With an IRA, without the LLC, no FinCEN requirement because there's no entity. IRAs are trusts tax exempt, no FinCEN requirement, no BOI. Only if you have the LLC is there a BOI. Okay, so that's the last thing I want to mention. That's it. That is, in a nutshell, everything you want to know about the self-directed IRA. It's easy to set up. You have the IRA, you have the LLC, both great options. Why do you want to do it? You want to diversify, invest in assets you know and trust, generate tax deferral, tax-free growth, take control, freedom. If you want the LLC, it gives you privacy, limited liability control, limited liability protection, speed, efficiency, same flat fees. If you are paying asset valuation fees, no. That's unfair. Think twice. Be smart. You're just robbing your family of money for no reason. It's the same service. We give you the same service if you have 50K or 50 million. You want to talk to me and you're a client if you have 50 bucks or 50 million, you'll get there. Okay. Someone said our reps are available to help you get started. Yeah, thank you. Whoever's that. Amazing. Yeah, we love you. We love helping people. Again, you don't have to pay us a thing until you fund. Flat fees, no transaction, no wire fees. Name me a different financial institution that's not even going to charge you wire fees. What banks don't charge you wire fees? We don't. We eat that cost. We use Capital One. That's our banking partner. Guess what? They charge us wire fees. We eat it because we're nice, because we want things to be easy and simple. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the masterclass. I think I'm going to do a Roth conversion one next week. Yeah, I'm going to do a Roth conversion one next week. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Probably do one next Wednesday. So you certainly should subscribe to this channel. You'll get notifications when I go live. Great content. It's free. Like, why wouldn't you, right? It'd be crazy not to. If you are interested in learning about retirement accounts, alternative assets, self-directed accounts, solo K, there's not a better channel. You are not going to find someone who knows more than me on this. I don't know a lot about anything. I barely can work my kid's iPad. Okay. That's the truth. But I know this stuff better than anyone. And my passion is educating people. So if you ever find me at like a cocktail party at a restaurant, I'm going to talk about this stuff. And my wife and kids like tune me out anyways. But this is what I love. Why? I've said it. I'll keep saying it at every masterclass. The retirement system's rigged in our favor. It's not zero sum. We all could have millions of dollars in our retirement account. All can do it. Simple. It's not zero sum. Just got to start early, be consistent, trust the process. It's never too late to start. Whether it's an IRA, SEP, simple, 401k, you can make up for lost time by putting in extra money. You can do it for your spouse. You can do it for your kids if they work. This system is how smart people get rich. Unfortunately, I'm starting to think it's rigged. It's not taught in school for a reason because certain people don't want other people to know. But I always say I went to high school. Obviously, I went to college, went to law school, master's in tax law. No one ever told me about retirement accounts. I never knew you can do alternative assets until I got lucky and had a client ask me to research this topic as a 9th-year tax attorney at one of the largest law firms in the world. If I didn't know about it, how the hell are we going to expect millions of Americans? So that's why I'm here doing this stuff. You don't have to be a client. You can never move your account to me. I don't care. I want to educate people. That's my passion. That's what I love to do. Use my tax knowledge to get people rich. And all I'm asking, send me a bottle of wine, 20, 30 years when you have $1 million in your Roth IRA. Send me a nice bottle, Pinot Noir, Cab, Bordeaux. That's all I want. That's what I love. Wine and retirement accounts. That's it. I've taken up more than enough time, almost an hour. I could probably talk about this stuff for 8 hours until my throat goes dry because I love it. Nothing makes me happier. And I've been doing this every year. I watch my clients' accounts get up, grow and grow and grow. I love it. Nothing makes me happier. So thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed the class. Hope I motivated you guys to at least think about retirement accounts, think about saving, whether you set up an IRA, a self-directed IRA, just save, 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 save. Whether you do alts or traditionals, put away money, trust the process. You will have tax-free wealth at retirement, I promise. Great day. Be well. Thank you. And see everyone again next week. Take care.